save it. Red tag, save it. Red, green, what that means, Morris Lands, Bourbon. Who got claimed Elbin? Not the name MJ. Lush and green was the porcelain, all pristine and so awful. Know thyself, the father from my aunt capstone. Ripped the ground, we put it back to top. See some real engineering, really no Indians near here. Blackstone from the next planet. Still you have no talk, just a stick faggot. Batman still up in the cave, he got some sick gadgets. Nigga rich run a whole city with no power till apocalypse now. In the door cower. Red flag make a 7 as it raised. A flag above many that has waved. Self from here to save. I'm an all-mech, got a lot of lip, chapped up to say back up. You see the black flag waving, red tag saving, red green, what I mean, Morris Lands, Bourbon. Who got claimed Elvin? Not the name MJ. Lush and green was the porcelain, all pristine and so off. Red flag waving, red tag saving, red green, what that mean, Morris Lands, Bourbon. Who got claimed Elvin? Not the name MJ. Lush and green was the porcelain, some obscene, some cordial.
I value representation. This flag represents a nation, collecting information, tracing our roots, not chasing, pacing our progress, doing more, saying less. Black, white, gray, MSF, RBG in our breath. The depth of what we do is best presented by how we grew. What's true is ear of the beholder to proof answers question over. Some call it closure, I prefer to say we open since we still scoping for knowledge and others now awoken. Open little to not, prefer work, plan, plot, strategize to maximize the probability. We saw caught between honor and a smart place. The decisions that we make, ripple effects minor or great, still I appreciate.
Red flag waving, red tag saving, red green, what I mean, Morris Lands, Bourbon. Who got claimed Elvin? Not the name MJ. Lush and green was the porcelain, all pristine and so on. Red flag waving, red tag saving, red green, what that mean, Morris Lands, Bourbon. Who got claimed Elvin? Not the name MJ. Lush and green was the porcelain, some obscene, some cordial.
50,000-year-old ancestral claiming, flag in the ground, hear the flapping fabric sound. Red for the bloodshed or celestial realms. When all you see is feathers and turbans, be overwhelmed. Standing on the squares, independent and fearless. From lower self to higher self, with no interference. 5-point star is her, we call her Venus. My niggas are Nagas, improper persona genius. In 3, 5, or 7 plus, whenever you see us. Moorish national disciples, Prophet Ali and Jesus, Muhammad, Buddha, Confucius. The same frequencies preceding all man-made religions. Displaying decency, secret teaching of the ages. The heart is where the life is. Osiris is Orion, Horus, Mars, Sirius, Isis. Clear conceptions of your work during a crisis. Rep my flag till I'm dust or the husk is lifeless. Rep my flag, red, green, 5-point star, no gold fringes. Stand on my square, no liberty infringes. No rights violated, no Negroes emancipated. All they know is castrated and decapitated. Red flag, 5-point star. How far we are? Red flag waving, red tag saving, red green, what I mean, Morris Lands, Bourbon. Who got claimed Elvin? Not the name MJ. Lush and green was the porcelain, all pristine and so on. Red flag waving, red tag saving, red green, what that mean, Morris Lands, Bourbon. Who got claimed Elvin? Not the name MJ. Lush and green was the porcelain, some obscene, some cordial, tops turban.
Greetings in Islam. So I was thinking and I seen the Julius Rosenwald sign in front of the cemetery. And we know Rosenwald was connected with Noble Jew Ali. But see, at the same time, running parallel to Noble Jew Ali, Claude Green had tuberculosis hospitals in Chicago. And we know that Rosenwald was funding schooling for Asiatics, but teaching them about black history, not about Moorish. But we know that he knew about the Moors because he knew about Noble Jew Ali, saying specifically that those names delude to the names of your slave masters. So you don't want to use that. But he pushed the big agenda after Ali passed. You've seen how many schools he set up. It said 200,000 Asiatics was taught through his schools. But then we see this Tuskegee where they was doing experiments regarding syphilis, and tuberculosis. Apparently the tuberculosis or the syphilis causes stuff inside of your lungs. And they say this is what Ali passed from. However, again, we know that he had herbs that was known to cure that. But all of these people were surrounding Noble Drew Ali. You got Claude Green. Now with the Tuskegee, there was a man before him with the last name Green. And he was in the circle with Rosenwald with this Tuskegee. We see that there was a trust fund that was set up. So why is Rosenwald doing research on syphilis and tuberculosis, knowing Noble Drew Ali had the cure for it? And also, why is it saying Ali passed from tuberculosis when we know he had the cure for it? And Claude Green had hospitals with people with tuberculosis. Then you think of Al Capone. He died from syphilis. So, like, what I'm getting ready to do, because we have the evidence. We have an FBI statement saying Ali died from a knife. But then his death certificate says tuberculosis. So that's clear contradiction. And that's enough to, to have him resumed and to see if he has stab wounds, to see if he has bone fractures, because they said that he was beaten by the police, and to have him tested to see if he even had tuberculosis and what else was in his system. That's what should be done, because there's a lot of weird stuff going on. They're doing rituals, putting these signs up about Rosenwald making schools for African Americans, trying to shove that term back into that time, and not saying anything about Moorish Americans. There's a huge agenda here, brothers and sisters. And then you see Booker T. Washington. I feel strongly that Ali should be tested for fractures in the bones, for stab wounds, like knife wounds to the bone. He should be tested for tuberculosis and everything that was in his system. Like, I don't know how you brothers feel about that, but there's too much inconsistencies going on.
There's too much inconsistencies going on. It's too much. How come there's all these inconsistencies when it comes to Noble Drew Ali and the Moors? Why? And yeah. How come if Noble Drew Ali had the cure, you had Moorish Manufacturing Company, they were making herbal remedies, Dr. Sebi before Dr. Sebi. And don't forget their L's and B's too. Don't get it messed up. Like they didn't know. The Sebis didn't know. So if he did all that, and his remedies are said to be able to cure the stuff that he died from, shouldn't there be an inquest or something like that from Moors? And we're talking about, we're not talking about just Moors out here who just found out that they're Moors because they're doing their own research. We're talking about Supreme Grand Council and these people, since people like to bring them up. How come they didn't have an inquest? Because in this modern European studying Noble Drew Ali, he found out that there's inconsistencies. The modern European, you know that much about Drew Ali, and you don't. How do you get that far? How did this Muslim son, modern European, do research and get this far into Noble Drew Ali? This is how far in he went. Just from studying Noble Drew Ali. Remember the modern European. Keep that in mind. And keep in mind that Noble Drew Ali told the Moors he's going to keep the European here so you know what the truth is. He's going to make them tell it. And he made this European tell the truth, which is Noble Drew Ali's prophecy manifesting and all that stuff, because,
We've already asked the question. The Moors who are out here just doing their own research and studying and finding out stuff about that, they're Moors and all that stuff, getting excited, you know. We already know there's some issues with the stories that these Moor Science Temple people are talking about with regard to Noble Drew Ali. Just this morning, watching the Moor went to the temple, got nationalized, and after he nationalized, they're singing stuff, they're singing hymns and all that. Well, what are you singing hymns for? You mean you're singing hymns? You mean you're singing hymns? Hold on a second. Since the good brother Latif brought up exhuming, we might as well go to exhuming. We might as well go to exhuming since he's talking about exhuming. Exhuming Drew Ali. Let's see if there's any knife wounds on the bones. If you pull out the body and Drew Ali's face looks like Emmett Till, obviously he didn't die of tuberculosis. Obviously. And then if he didn't, then that means that certain people need to be investigated. By Moors and by the modern Europeans. Let's just go to exhuming of a nation. Let's just check something. Just check something. What about a Mason being free? Make no mistake about it. The institution of Western Freemasonry is an expression of freedom for certain males with pale skin, age 21, with sound mind and body. With the African God-man temporarily entombed for a few centuries, the criminals fancied themselves safe to introduce to the world Europe's versions of peace on earth and freedom to all men. The suffix free in Freemasonry is of great significance because it establishes the very status of the order and the intent of its members. Noble Drew Ali taught the Moors, although you were born free, you will come to know that nothing is free until it is of itself clean, pure, and unmixed. Be yourself. As water offer freedom for fish to swim, as air offer freedom for birds to fly, like so secretly offers freedom for Masons to work and not be detected. When any living thing is free, it's due to the natural autonomy, which offers security and glory of their own prosperity. The history of the European race shows their concept of freedom is acquired through conquest, and where survival of the fittest is the superior law. When Europeans see other cultures, be they human, beast, fowl, or the sea, living in their natural state of freedom, it is viewed as wild, uncivilized, barbaric, and primitive. The concept must be reviewed in light of the historical fact Europeans were the last people on earth to discover it was not flat, and arithmetic is not witchcraft. Still, after nearly 6,000 years, they exalt their version of civilization as being more advanced than the primitives, as they remain in feigned search of global peace through the crosshairs of murder weapons. Actually, the free part of Freemasonry comes through medieval stonemasonry guilds. During that brief period of European history, a stonemason who had become a master mason and working for himself was free to travel in the land and practice his trade without supervision. Therefore, a Mason, having mastered his craft and now act above all others who are bound down to the profane world, would call himself free. As you read further in this chapter, it will be proven the free in Western Freemasonry has absolutely nothing to do with the men of African descent. Noble Drew Ali gave the Moorish many holy instructions to being free. Among these commands, he ordered the Moorish Americans as a new nation of people, saying, "We, as a clean and pure nation, descended from the inhabitants of Africa, do not desire to amalgamate or marry into the families of the pale-skinned nations of Europe, neither serve the gods of their religion, because our forefathers are the true and divine founders of the first religious creed for the redemption and salvation of mankind on earth. Therefore, we are returning the church and Christianity back to the European nations as it was prepared for their forefathers for their earthly salvation, while we, the Moorish Americans, are returning to Islam, which is founded by our forefathers for our earthly and divine salvation." The key here is the Holy Prophet was teaching a people yet to be realized as a nation. Only the subject burial delays this realization. The NBC males are denationalized, nationless men woven into property by the constitutional laws of a declared people. This is why Freemasonry is forbidden to Negro, black, colored, African American men and other slaves. Freedom has always been mysterious and unknown to Negro. No Negro, black, or colored person has ever known freedom. No Negro, black, colored person has ever known freedom. No, none of them. So why you want to be that? And why are the people confused and don't know? Because their own. Because Drew Ali laid it all down for you and told you where you're supposed to be at with regard to this. Because he's the authority. It's not the people after him that's the authority. That they're running around today with the chest out and all that stuff like they did something. They're camelbacking off Drew Ali. Stop the dumb stuff. You didn't start anything. Drew Ali's the foundation. Till that's a realization. You know what I mean? And enjoy the BS. Prophet announces his authority and power. Forced to make changes. Why is he being forced to make changes? Because of the same element of our side of the nation that thought what he was presenting was a joke and unreal, and they wanted to have their way. They wanted to have their way. They didn't want to be in the position of Drew Ali with Drew Ali around. They removed him so they can do their overseers work. Keep you deaf, dumb, and blind with regard to what Noble Drew Ali brought you. You think it's about other subject matter. It's about Drew Ali. If you're not on that, you're not on anything. You're just another Negro, black, colored, and they don't count. So, what you want? And like you say, we don't care how much finance and all that stuff they got. Nobody who's Negro, black, colored has ever experienced freedom. They don't know what freedom is. Just because they're calling themselves a fiction and don't have a nationality. So they can talk freedom all they want. But are they free? Remember, Drew Ali's forced to make changes. This is how much pressure was around him at the time. With sellouts being in this. Why today we tell people trust no one. Because we just saw Moors nationalize a Moor. We're talking about worms in the belly, grand sheiks. Belly out to here or whatever. Telling these Moors, nationalize, here's this card, and then we're going to sing some hymns after. Nothing about membership. Yeah, there's membership. But there's a bigger thing than membership. Drew Ali said we're a nation. Drew Ali said we're a nation. And for all the work that he put in, for people to sell out, and then the sellouts still be around today. Now we're looking at the people. Because sellouts been around here since Drew Ali's been around here. Sellouts been around. And look what modern European found out. He's going to pull some strings to exhume Noble Drew Ali's body for the Moors. There's something's wrong here. And I know what's going to come up is that was our own. You know, new stuff. You already know what's up. It's our people who don't know. It's our people who are naive. Because they listen to what somebody said about the Moors instead of just dealing with Moors. All governors and other officers of the Moorish Science Temple are hereby congratulated for their past loyalty and fidelity. For I know it will be the same in the future. So honor to all you Moors out there who stand for Noble Drew Ali, who stand for his teachings, who don't throw him under the bus and put him next to black guys and talk about brotherly BS. Like, honors to all you Moors. Drew Ali congratulates you for your loyalty and fidelity to him. Because many around him sold out. 98% of them around him sold out. Right? Because of certain incidents that have arisen in some of the temples, which seem to come from the fact that there are those who do not know where the seat of power is vested, the Prophet has ordered the following to be published. The Prophet ordered this to be published so that the Moors in the temple know what's going on. This is what the Prophet's ordering. You think he's just giving orders to grand sheiks only and grand governors? That's the only people he's talking to? But if he's only talking to them, then why is he making this order that must be read for the Moors? Obviously, everybody's supposed to know this. If you say, yeah, honors to Noble Drew Ali, and then you don't know this, Because nobody ever told you, well, you didn't read the Prophet announcing his authority and power? You never read that? Or you were over here with these Moors and they're teaching you about trust and all that stuff? Or they never told you about the authority and power of Noble Drew Ali? Interesting. All authority and power of the Moorish Science Temple of America is vested in the Prophet Noble Drew Ali and those whom he appoints to act as in the supreme body. The Prophet has the authority and power to expel any officer or member of the Moorish Science Temple of America who willfully violates or refuses to comply with the rules in regard to the branch Moorish Science Temple, and such suspensions and expulsions shall stand until the judgment of the Prophet. The members and officers shall have made satisfactory atonement. All officers and members of the Moorish Science Temple of America and such rules and regulations of the Constitution shall be in writing and not at variance with any law of the city, town, or nation which the Prophet shall declare a law. During this session of the convention, all rules, regulations, and laws of the Constitution, and such as might be enacted and ordered by the Prophet, shall express and explain in detail, so there can be no doubt as to what is required of each and every officer or member of the organization. The Prophet will positively not tolerate any interference with the operations of this divine national movement from anyone. Which is why they had to get him out the way. Because if he was still around, you would have known the truth about your nationality and birthrights. You would have known that you're not Negro, black, colored. You would have been joining the Moorish Science Temple of America, which would have tied you to the Moorish Divine National Movement, which would have tied you to the Moorish Empire, so you can claim your vast estate and get these Europeans off your land and start being the founders of civilization again. Because he already had Oscar the Priest in the pocket. He had Louis B. Anderson in the pocket. He had Jesse Bingham in the pocket. And then what these sellouts go do? They're going and they're making deals with FBI. They're getting sent infiltration people. They're going back and telling these people that the Moorish Shrine Temple of America, and then the office was contacted by the agent on September 11th, 31. What else happened on September 11th? Anything you know happened impactful on September 11th? Anything else? That's something to do with Muslims and Islam or something like that. Something like that. Oh, and you think this has nothing to do with you? '31, they're making deals with FBI. When Drew Ali was getting Congressman, the priest, and all these people in office. Moors casting their free national ballot and getting people in office who's going to work for Moors. Then what happened? What did your own do? What did your own do? What did your own do? This panoramic photograph, approximately 3 feet wide, captured the 400 men, women, and children attending the 10th annual convention of the Moorish Science Temple of America in 1937. Members traveled from Illinois, New York, Wisconsin, Indiana, Connecticut, Michigan, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, and Ohio. Tenth annual. And then certain people are so traitor that there's Kirkman Bay right there, and you could see him with his marked fez on. And all white, right in the center. See him with his marked fez. Didn't Exhuman of a Nation just say only Europeans have to be Masons to be free? So if we're Moors, and then people who were Masons, because those are the marked fez people, became the head of the Moorish movement, you're wondering why the stuff is messed up today? And why you hate it, and why you don't want to be Moors and all that stuff? Because this is what they did. This is what they did. And these people are still around today, posing as if they're the authority. And then the news people are going to go run to them and interview them about some stuff happening with Moors, when they don't care about Moors. They don't give a what about Moors. They're only concerned with their selfish stuff. That's all. Not concerned with Moors. Right? Tenth annual convention. Remember, this is 30 plus. No, this is 30 plus. 1930 onward. So all now, Drew Ali's not even on the scene. This is what was the leftover. Because during the time of Noble Drew Ali, when you go again, check these people and their papers. These people's papers. (1931). Right? Mr. President Hoover, dear sir, the Moorish Science Temple of America extends to you this invitation, inviting your presence at our convention, which will convene on the 15th day of this month in Chicago, Illinois, at the Foresters Hall, 44th and State Street, any day from the 15th to the 20th. Respectfully yours for peace, Bay. Bay. This is who they went and had arrangements with. Instead of acknowledging Drew Ali and his prophethood, and then you can get this on the FBI website, vault.fbi.gov, and they have their whole papers in there about them investigating Drew Ali, Moorish Science Temple, because they're going to be unifying with the Japanese, because the Japanese said that they're going to take over America and some of the dumb stuff. Everything was to get you to be Negro. Yeah, you Negro black colored, you with feathers on. Ells and bays with feathers, but you're Negroes. because the head of the thing is a Mason. So that's not a temple. That's not for your salvation. That's a lodge. And Juali told you give Christianity back to these Europeans, because you have your own stuff. But if you don't want Asiatic Grand Sheiks, I'll give you European ones. Then the European Grand Sheiks now are your president and your vice president and all that stuff, governor and all that, because you want to have your own. And you should want to have your own. You really should want to have your own. You shouldn't be so fast to have somebody else's stuff. And it's not even like you weren't told. So much was said by Noble Drew Ali to the Moors, warning them. Warning them. Why? Because he's a prophet. I don't care what other prophets are out there. Honors to them. We're not talking about them. We're talking about prophet of our time. That so many of his prophecies manifested, people aren't realizing he's a prophet because they're caught up in their dogma. The dogma mindset. Because that's really a mental slave mindset. Brother Lomax Bay, 532 Livingston Street, Detroit, Michigan. Dear brother, be very careful of propaganda and news that you hear. There is a certain movement from the churches to destroy our movement and dishonor me, and that have men paid, both Europeans and Asiatics. And any outside letter that you receive, let me know the message then. I will know that you are a Moor, and I favor Moors. Isn't this the same stuff that they said that do the Panthers and all that stuff, sending fake letters and all that? So who's the foundation of that? If they use that to topple him, don't you think they use that to topple everybody else? Since they were able to do it with him? Because he told them, anything you get other than from me, send it to me. Think they did that? Nah. They went sending around the letter to all these other Moors. Look what Noble Drew Ali did. Not knowing that it was a sellout. Because these people got... Brother Lomax Bay didn't read the letter to these Moors. I got a letter from the Prophet. He said, any letter that you Moors receive that are part of my temple, make sure you bring those in so I could send them to the Prophet. Because something's going on. You know what I mean? He told me, let her be careful and all that stuff. There's propaganda going on. Like, what? And I didn't know all that was going on. Why is all this going on? Noble Drew Ali's a great man. Like, I went to the, you know what I mean? Line up around the building because people want to visit him and all that stuff. What did they mean? What does he mean by this? And then he's getting letters from Moors talking crazy. Yeah, we're the real authority because, Noble Drew Ali's going to be brought up on charges and all that stuff. So, you need to get down with somebody. Damn sellouts. We Moors must stand in unit. We stand together according to deeds and action, not by words of lips. We stand together according to deeds and actions. We stand in unit. And then look, and then you see who are the ones that are active, not passive. Who are the ones that you bring them up and it's nothing but high praises. Now, well, that more? Well, I don't know about that more. It's supposed to be good deeds. As soon as you hear Moore's name, it should be, oh yeah, that Moore, Islam to that Moore, tell that Moore what's up when I see him and all that stuff. It's not supposed to be some down talking on Moors. It's because it's sellout. The infiltration. And people have been following infiltrators for 100 years. And then the infiltrators will just be popping up now with the online stuff. So you click the wrong thing, you get a virus. Same thing, you bump into the wrong Moor and you just paid $1,500. Didn't even know that you paid $1,500. So you thought this is a Moor, so me giving 500 notes to have a conversation on the phone for an hour, you know, that's reasonable. A servant is worthy of his hire. No, it's not. You see, we're supposed to stand in unit. You read the Holy Covenant of the Asiatic nation. That you're supposed to assist your brother and sister, you know, questioning about anything. But why do you get yourself into that and all that? No, you assist them. You ream them out after for the BS that they did. After you have the shouting match. Right? This letter is to be read to the temple. The 8th of January is my birthday. That will be our Christmas. And all presents are to be sent on that day. I look for all faithful Moors to send me a present on that day, no matter how small or large. Let it be finance or domestic. It is a law of Allah and not mine, as I am only his son, one of his sons. We are under the crescent and the star, the same as other prophets have been, and the world is under the same. Love to all. Peace. Noble Drew Ali. And then these people didn't read the letter to the Moors. Then the Moors get in the letter, then the Moors got played, and then they look at it, oh my God, the Moor science thing, this stuff is BS and whatever like that, and then they go do some Negro stuff, go right back to the state where a prophet found them. Because of people coming into this causing confusion. And then when the street cleaners come around, they're trying to clean stuff up now. Now people got problems. Now they want to debate stuff about who's people's mom and where they live and all that. Getting attention away from the fact that you've been supporting sellouts. The European nothing, because the European knows who the Moors are. I'm talking about no damn European. Senate Resolution 257. (2017) Isaac M. Wise Temple Day. Congressional Record, Volume 163, Number 149. Senate Resolution 257, designating September 16, 2017 as Isaac M. Wise Temple Day. 2007 marks the 150th anniversary. The 150th anniversary. 150th anniversary of the establishment of the current site for the Isaac M. Wise Temple, also known as Plum Street Temple, whereas Rabbi Isaac M. Wise led that congregation for nearly a half a century, establishing the congregation as the cradle of American Reform Judaism and helping to make Cincinnati a center of Jewish life in the United States. Whereas the Isaac M. Wise Plum Street Temple is listed on the National Register of Historic Places for the significant role that the temple played in the history of Reform Judaism and for the unique Moorish architectural style of the temple. They're Jews. They're Jews. Why is the temple Moorish? Why did they have a Jewish temple? Why didn't they have a Jewish temple? Why did the Jews have a Hebrew Union College in Cincinnati in 1875, but all their buildings are Moorish architecture? I mean, it's not Hebrew architecture. I mean, it's not Judaic architecture. Why isn't it? Why is it Moorish? And then why is it acknowledged in the congressional records based on the fact that it's Moorish? Because they're not honoring the individual, they're not honoring the rabbi, they're honoring the temple. No, they're talking about some rabbi who's getting honors. They're giving honors to a Moorish temple. Then you tell you Moorish temple, then you're telling us about religious stuff and all that. Central Synagogue. Congressional Records. Volume 141, number 146. Central Synagogue honored for years of service. Synagogue? They're honoring a synagogue? Why are they honoring a building, not the individual? Oh, because completed in 1872, the synagogue itself is one of New York's greatest landmarks. The imposing Moorish sanctuary was designed by Henry Fernbach, the first Jewish American architect, and was subsequently designed as a national landmark. So it had to be Moorish to be a national landmark? So if it had to be Moorish to be a national landmark, so when Moors say that we're national, these people shouldn't be debating anything then, right? They shouldn't have anything to say when Moors say we're national. They know you're not, you're a citizen because you're born here and all that stuff. What do you mean? This temple was built here, but that's national. You're not going to debate them about change the name and all that. How come? This is because the point, apparently Moors can't be nationals. There's a building that's national. How did the building get there? It built itself? You know, these people play games with you and get you away from where you're supposed to be. Congressional Records. December 13, 2005. Volume 151, number 159. Remember, this is not some 500-year-ago thing. This is in their records right now. You go check for yourself. And this is nothing compared to stuff what they got in there on the Moors. This is nothing. A new American Renaissance. With the Renaissance, Western Europe began its domination of the world economy. The West has held this power as long the West has held this power so long that it is easy, especially for us here in the West, to take it for granted, but it need not have been so. In the century leading up to the year 1000, Moorish Spain could claim a far more advanced civilization than that of Christian Italy. Cordoba's streets were paved and lit. Cordoba had 300 public baths and 70 libraries. Cordoba's great central library alone held 400,000 books, more than all of France. The Arab postal service delivered regular mail as far as India. Arab civilization was internally creative, and Arab thinkers of the time were open to Persian and Indian science as well. So how come it's not in the year leading up to the 1000 Arab Spain? How come it's not Arab Spain? Why did it say Arab Spain? Why did it say Moorish? You still confused? You better not be confused still. You can't be confused still. All this stuff that you see Moors doing, as far as putting out this information, Moors should have been doing it. Been presenting this info. But, why would they do that? Because they're not Moors, they're ancient Egyptians, so they're going to talk about that. Or they're Hebrew Israelites, so they're going to talk about that. Or they're whatever, and they're going to talk about that, when all those people are dark-skinned people. If they're dark-skinned, that means they're Moors. So why aren't they talking about this? Why are they talking about stuff that's irrelevant? When I tell you about some Torah or something like that, thousands of years ago, we're talking about 2005, and these people's record, they know who the Moors are. Now you don't know? Now when Moors start talking, you want to debate Moors, but you're not debating anybody else who has a nationality? You just want to debate Moors. Honors to all the Moors. Honors to all the Moors. Don't forget tonight, 7 p.m. Canaanland Moors YouTube. The album release listening party for the Druality album. Roots K and Anonymous. Attracting Opposites. It's going to be crazy. So the album is only 11 notes. These Moors go in. The album's only 11 notes. Right. The album's only 11 notes, but if you can, send 22. If you've been riding with Anonymous and Roots K. They're about to go off tonight. It's going to be crazy. So Canaanland Moors YouTube page tonight, 7 p.m. You could pre-order the album. Just send your PayPal 22 notes or 11 notes. Right? Because it really should be, like 88 notes or something like that. Because Moors, you already know these Moors. But 11 notes. They're dealing with you proper. CanaanlandGuide@gmail.com is the PayPal. Make sure you put your email in there where you want the album sent to you, and we'll get that sent out to you. 11 notes for the album. And keep in mind that tonight is just the listening session. Right? just a listening session. So it's just tonight. Listening session staying up there. So if you want the album, just use that PayPal. It's 11 notes for the album. If you want to, support, send 22. But the album's 11 notes. We'll be on Canaanland Moors tonight, 7 p.m. for the album listening party. Attracting opposites, duality. Title alone is crazy. The title alone is crazy. You don't need anything else. We'll just take the title and we'll just listen to that. Peace and love to all the Moors worldwide. Honors to all the Moors. Honors to all the mothers. And honors to the Prophet Noble Drew Ali. We give honors to the Prophet Drew Ali. Peace and love to all the Moors. Islam.
Greetings in Islam. So I was thinking and I seen the Julius Rosenwald sign in front of the cemetery. And we know Rosenwald was connected with Noble Drew Ali. But see, at the same time, running parallel to Noble Drew Ali, Claude Green had tuberculosis hospitals in Chicago. And we know that Rosenwald was funding schooling for Asiatics, but teaching them about black history, not about Moors. But we know that he knew about the Moors because he knew about Noble Drew Ali, saying specifically that those names delude to the names of your slave masters, so you don't want to use that. But he pushed the big agenda after Ali passed. You've seen how many schools he set up. It said 200,000 Asiatics was taught through his schools. But then we see this Tuskegee where they was doing experiments regarding syphilis and tuberculosis. Apparently the tuberculosis or the syphilis causes stuff inside of your lungs. And they say this is what Ali passed from. However, again, we know that he had herbs that was known.
Oh yeah, and honors to all the modern Europeans who were riding with Moors and Noble Drew Ali too. Honors to you.
To cure that. But all of these people were surrounding Noble Drew Ali. You got Claude Green. Now with the Tuskegee, there was a man before him with the last name Green. And he was in the circle with Rosenwald with this Tuskegee. We see that there was a trust fund that was set up. So why is Rosenwald doing research on syphilis and tuberculosis, knowing Noble Drew Ali had the cure for it? And also, why is it saying Ali passed from tuberculosis when we know he had the cure for it? And Claude Green had hospitals with people with tuberculosis. Then you think of Al Capone. He died from syphilis. So like, what I'm getting ready to do, because we have the evidence. We have an FBI statement saying Ali died from a knife. But then his death certificate says tuberculosis. So that's clear contradiction. And that's enough to, to have him resumed and to see if he has stab wounds, to see if he has bone fractures, because they said that he was beaten by the police, and to have him tested to see if he even had tuberculosis and what else was in his system. That's what should be done, because there's a lot of weird stuff going on. They're doing rituals, putting these signs up about Rosenwald making schools for African Americans, trying to shove that term back into that time. And not saying anything about Moorish Americans. There's a huge agenda here, brothers and sisters. And then you see Booker T. Washington. I feel strongly that Ali should be tested for fractures in the bones, for stab wounds, like knife wounds to the bone. He should be tested for tuberculosis and everything that was in him.
nobody ain't supposed to talk about that. Many of them still in this movement. You understand what I'm saying? To kill the civic side of this movement, so people can think it's just another black religious Islamic sect. You get? That was their mission, to establish that fake reality, not reality, but that fake appearance of reality, that semblance, that color to the people, which is the color that most people have of the Moorish movement now, and anyone says that's not true is a liar, because that's the concept that people have this movement. Until we came out and started reaching out to them while everybody else was being silent, condemning us for doing it too. And we put literature out there to change their concepts, so they could have something to reference to. You understand? Just like the Prophet said do. Exactly what the Prophet said do. People mad at us, still mad at us for it. I don't care. Because I'm not in it for them. I got babies. And they got babies. And they got babies and the babies that's still in the womb. And I ain't having it. And I'm a soldier. I came as a defender for no withdrawal. That's why I do what I do. I'm telling you bluntly. And I ain't afraid. Of course, nobody ain't supposed to talk about that. Many of them still in this movement. You understand what I'm saying? To kill the civic side of this movement, so people can think it's just another black religious Islamic sect. You get? That was their mission, to establish that fake reality, not reality, but that fake appearance of reality, that semblance, that color to the people, which is the color that most people have of the Moorish movement now, and anyone says that's not true is a liar, because that's the concept that people have this movement. Until we came out and started reaching out to them while everybody else was being silent, condemning us for doing it too. And we put literature out there to change their concepts, so they could have something to reference to. You understand? Just like the Prophet said do. Exactly what the Prophet said do. People mad at us, still mad at us for it. I don't care. Because I'm not in it for them. I got babies. And they got babies. And they got babies and the babies that's still in the womb. And I ain't having it. And I'm a soldier. I came as a defender for no withdrawal. That's why I do what I do. I'm telling you bluntly. And I ain't afraid. Of course, nobody ain't supposed to talk about that. Many of them still in this movement. You understand what I'm saying? To kill the civic side of this movement, so people can think it's just another black religious Islamic sect. You get? That was their mission, to establish that fake reality, not reality, but that fake appearance of reality, that semblance, that color to the people, which is the color that most people have of the Moorish movement now, and anyone says that's not true is a liar, because that's the concept that people have this movement. Until we came out and started reaching out to them while everybody else was being silent, condemning us for doing it too. And we put literature out there to change their concepts, so they could have something to reference to. You understand? Just like the Prophet said do. Exactly what the Prophet said do. People mad at us, still mad at us for it. I don't care. Because I'm not in it for them. I got babies. And they got babies. And they got babies and the babies that's still in the womb. And I ain't having it. And I'm a soldier. I came as a defender for no withdrawal. That's why I do what I do. I'm telling you bluntly. And I ain't afraid.
Mufti force of the conscious game. Superstars won't spend all those G's just a supercar. I'd rather put the funds to Mufti force guns. Dr. Sebi remedy in truck skids and tons. Signing bonus, gift to Gabriel or Igbo or UMIA, let more replace Negro. I'm not the face watcher or friend beggar. I'm not the type to take back what I tell ya. Tight pants and dry flows, I want a Rockefeller. Black Hawk down, a fly rapper and snap propellers. Airspace in these bars are no flow zones. I heard R&B singers are homo drones. I heard that from a gay rapper dressing so thug. G's can't pass butt cheeks, dressing so snug like a snuggle bear. Showing me your underwear. Rapper Inquisition make rappers run from fear of being shown up You already thrown up, punchlines and hooks leave their face swole up. Or like the triads if you don't pay what's owed up. Rapper Inquisition, horror flick, the lips sewn up. Can't go one-on-one for IHF zone up. Using the fiat and deals, pumping their clones up. Making more rap clones like iRobot. Short circuit the whole industry of rap robots. That butts boinking, working with the ones oinking. Hip-hop's hurting IHF, the vocal ointment. Flow like a break waves and b-boy girl dancers. Spit like pain of old school graphers. Fiend for the true hip-hop scratching like a producer. MC OGs with content that you're used to. Fiending for true hip-hop scratching like a producer. MC OGs with content that you're used to.
They want make we life hard like pavement. Me no afraid to make my statement. Babylon go on with the mental and physical enslavement. Think right now if we all live like cavemen. How much go dead off, how much now go make it. The righteous replace them, the outside erase them. Discrimination, plaguing with nation. Unity is strength, we weak with separation. Jail houses meant to deplete elevation. Wisdom visit under deep meditation. Or you are will see under sweet medication. Herbs are the healing of the nation. Tell them police, we that stop chase. Man especially since me know no fool, no blaze. That's flirt of the truth. Me know say you can't take that. See them chat, yeah this rasta. Nah take back, you don't know.
Couldn't grasp half of the shit that we've been through. These clip ass niggas making comments on YouTube. TorontoRappers.com talking about you too. Generation switch, shouldn't have to show you. Big man grow, bitch, don't worry about the old school. Haven't seen a man you used to see before. Cause certain man don't want the face see no more. Get off our dicks, your pussies is whores. Tendencies of a bitch, you should learn to be a more. And while you're hating, we'll keep repping T.O. and celebrating, cause enough soldiers soon home. We penetrating, got the locks and the codes. So do your own time, bro, we alright. Everybody on their own ground, but we still tight. It's just a miscommunication, which brothers don't fight. You need an occupation, or I forgot you tight. Shit about other man, cause you covered their life. But your business you should mind though, cause we work nights. And you ain't hard to find once darkness comes to light. And I don't care, you can take my flesh life here. I manifest, and I come back in your nightmares. And I kill you there, I've been traveling for light years. I can't die, but they won't see you horny or you won't wake up. Need to call the coroner, another wake up. Your boys will be corona, cause they sluts. Reminiscing while the morning saying what the. Just yesterday we was vlogging with each other. Shouldn't I? With just another brother and the rest of the camp. 2 decades straight, we've been making a stand. Yeah, I know you say you don't even know me. I make it clear I'm a Flemodon OG. Year to year made stacks off them Ozies from the block to the bars. I'm known we between the rats and the stars. I play it low-key looking down and it's far. At the top it's getting lonely.
Of course, the agents that exist, whether or not it's informed by my lips, labeled angelic or devilish, based on the view the beholder gets. To the older we get, our perspectives and action change, regardless lines drawn between those that intend to hinder gains. Them are not the same. We switch out the seat, the left to complain. The reference frame change while still thinking life is a game. While we train, this battlefield, knowing when common kicks is real. My mental plus my tempo must be ready to switch from hurt to heal. It's true to reveal similarities since they be following orders accordingly from trust to destiny. So mercy's unnecessary. Murder honorably one's enemy, and as long as common mode exists, an opposition has to be.
Contest me now, contest me now. Yeah, contest. I'll flatten your career, make a whack rap. Too many whack rappers out there. This one's for y'all, yo. Simon, I'll flatten your career, make a whack rapper disappear. Grab you by your shirt back and kick your ass out of here. Bystanders run for cover, cause I'm back to reap havoc. Remember me? Take to kill them all and make them die tragic. Turn the opposition, cock it back and let them have it. Let them vanish like I'm a magician and raps for magic. And like poof, you're gone. With the proof I'm on. To all you non-substance rappers, if you want, respond. Give y'all a second, but but I recognize you're reppin'. Some metrosexual shit, that's not the way that I'm stepping. I studied last year's test and skimmed the cheat sheets. So test me now, kill commercial rap like dead meat. If you don't know, I'm Simon Phoenix and I dead beats. Hung commercial rap on front page, I can't be discreet. Lyrically dump heat, leaving bodies in tall heaps. No mortal can walk like I do, now bow and kiss my feet. Call me sire, throw out your skinny jeans and retire. Back you up against the wall with hail or gunfire. Sharp talent shred your skins and shatter your bones. Stay out of the kitchen, better yet drop the microphone. Steadily prepping better recipes. I rap till the end, but rap won't be the death of me. At a shower party when I catch ya, I wet ya, then blow you up the crime scene. All that's left is your stretcher. So test me now, make your fans convert. Have them wearing fatigues and burning tight pink ass shirts. Have them dashing out the flashy clothes like I'm not Tron. Mailing you pipe bombs labeled a wannabe rap icon. Check me later, I'm gone. Thought I died, but I respond. My words are bondable, but when I speak, don't respond. I drown shallow-minded MCs in a shallow pond. Mobilize a million men to march like I'm Farrakhan. But I'm more like Malcolm and my brother is Son Falcon. Chasing crazy ball heads out of our town after I scalp them. Bit off more than you could chew, motherfuckers. Come test me now. So test me now. So test me now. Idiot boy.
It's still IHF, still ill, hunting feds. The type to leave a body guy leaking from his head. Dirty like the naps in my head. The enemies still want me dead, but mentally I cause their bodies to combust spontaneously. I be that ghetto dentist, removing chest cavities with my psychopathic surgery. My incision won't be circular, more like linear. My network's not Verizon, can you still hear me clear? There no more text messages, only mental mind blast to my comrades. Traders never overstand the task. Rather floss in some tight pants of money in their hand. Big chains and rims spinning. My stone hands will leave your face smashed and ears ringing. Armageddon soon beginning, so there's no time for sinning. When I finally kill the devil, I'ma hear these angels singing. Such a beautiful song.
Read the future through the stars, or Tower of Mars. Cut you with the scimitar or shadow sword. Dane and Callaway are names of Moors of Europe. Black and Indians say lying and selling you hope. Dirty Moors tell you MST of A is religious. Replace Jesus with Drew Ali singing hymns like Christians. Emmanuel I said be a human rights reader, but Ross play games in Moorish Jalabias. Nuwapians know the dot gave him circle 7 lesson and call him a nation of Moors in 360 questions. Hebrew Israelites are Moorish, Zionist Jews, but has the mothers in the back of tabernacle rooms. Read the future through the stars, or Tower of Mars. Cut you with the scimitar or shadow sword. Dane and Callaway are names of Moors of Europe. Black and Indians say lying and selling you hope. Dirty Moors tell you MST of A is religious. Replace Jesus with Drew Ali singing hymns like Christians. Emmanuel I said be a human rights reader, but Ross play games in Moorish Jalabias. Nuwapians know the dot gave him circle 7 lesson and call him a nation of Moors in 360 questions. Hebrew Israelites are Moorish, Zionist Jews, but has the mothers in the back of tabernacle rooms. Praying to the patriarch when Ark is the womb. Reincarnated Drew Ali written on Gibbon's tomb. Drew Ali reincarnated is also Fard Muhammad, claiming the prophet, but he's all about profit. $sign odds, 10 grand for a package. King of the Moors smearing feces, that's so savage. They're not against me, but against Drew Ali. They're not adjective like black collar or Somali. Jumping over Negro and say more means blacks as nigga leaders with scholarship off track. Should face a firing squad with lies like that. BLM leaders, mansions, every state on the map. No guilt or remorse, they face on billboards, but police victims in courts as a status quo wards. Mothers mourning, hiring civil rights attorneys. Most of them are not worthy and job turkeys. Make you march and picket, no one sees you like midgets. No matter how hard you fidget, choked out for 10 minutes. Been dead for 7 on your highway to heaven. They get off with the wrist slap, but not charged like a felon. You can't see what I can see. You're blind, baby. You're blind from the facts. You can't see what I can see. You're blind, baby. Your mind is so black. You can't see what I can see. You're blind, baby. You're blind from the facts. You can't see what I can see.
That's those black
You're blind,
glasses right there, them
Your mind is so black.
You said meet them where they're at? Been there, done that. Sounds like you want me going back to being black. Dead carcass, a dead status, same difference. All in experience. Blacks getting shot up, but Moors make them shut up. Double cup, that's protection. Every man to a nation. Negotiate for what? When you have the Constitution. Am I a Negro or what? You need permission, not prohibitive, privilege. Like somebody's kid, I guess that's the way we live. Nah, free national standards. I'm nobody's bastard. Land, air, water. That spells law, but you're blind, baby. I told you, you're blind, baby. Message for the freaking lady. Don't shoot my birdie. More science and facts. Fiction is the movie. Look at the way you act. If you don't believe me, then study. Then you would know, and you would grow. You would know, and you would grow. Blind, baby.
You can't see what I can see. You're blind, baby. You're blind from the facts. You can't see what I can see. You're blind, baby. Your mind is so black. You can't see what I can see. You're blind, baby. You're blind from the facts. You can't see what I can see. You're blind, baby. Your mind is so black.
Telling me people didn't sell you out. You're dumb. You're so dumb. This is your MATD people. Your Moorish passport people. This is them talking. You're telling me these people aren't a sellout? You're that dumb? If you're that dumb, these people deserve to get your 3,500, your 10 grand, your whatever it is that you paid for whatever you got. You think you got the Moorish thing because you paid for it? You're dumb. You're dumb. And take that however you want to take it. You're dumb. So we told you go to RV Bay Publications. Since 2008, we're telling you go to rvbaypublications.com. Nah, you want to go hear Moors. You want to go over here to some clown jackass. Listen to what they're saying. Okay, let's see what they're saying. Let's just see if this lines up with what it's supposed to be lining up with. Or are these people a traitor and a sellout? And then if you're supporting them when they're a traitor and a sellout, then doesn't that say something about you, you big dummy? Doesn't that say something about you if you're going to find every Moorish whatever out here to go support, but you're not going to support the real ones? You're not going to support the ones who've been doing this out of the goodness of their heart for 50 years? You're going to still have them on platform 11 p.m. talking to people? Disrespectful bastards. All these people sold you out. Sold out all the master teachers, sold out everybody. You're sitting here waiting for somebody to come get you. When Juali bin came and told you, save yourself. This is how dumb you are. We're going to show you how dumb you are by following these people. These are the people who you got your identification from. Right? These are the people. Don't say Moorish national, because public agents deal off of the platform of citizenship, whether de facto or de jure. Say I am an American state citizen. That is de jure. And they have constitutional obligations to state citizens, but not to Moorish nationals. Although we are nationals, we must present our citizenship status in the public. Nationality is used in the private. Now, as soon as you hear people start telling you about public and private and all that stuff, know that they got that from Juali. As soon as you hear them pull up with the private side and the public side and whatever like that, know that they got that from Noble Drew Ali. Because Noble Drew Ali told these Moors in the 1920s, I'm going to be working in the public and the private to save your dumb ass. I'm going to be working in both realms to save you. Then here come these people 2020 telling you about public, private. the secured party, and we got the Moorish passport over here because it has the gold tassel, and the goddesses could have the white tassel and the pink cover with the flowers. That's not birthrights. That's 7-Eleven. That's a dollar store. You got your nationality from a dollar store? Then you expect me to think you're not a big dummy? You're in a dollar store to get your nationality card. You're a Moor. Where you get that? Family Dollar. Family Dollar. I got this nationality card, 50 cents. That's where you got your nationality card? All right. So let's tell you something. Let's tell you something. Let's put you on game. So you're not confused. Because these people been supposed to tell you this. And if they did tell you this, we wouldn't even be having this conversation right now, because you'll be doing what you're supposed to do or whatever like that in order to save yourself. Because Drew Ali already told you what to do. Proclaim your nationality. You're not Negro, black, colored. That's it. That's what he told you to do. This stuff is real easy. If people want it hard, okay. If you want it hard, then we're going to put you in figure 4. We're going to break your knee. Maybe you'll get it after that. Maybe you'll get it after we put you in a camel clutch and break your back. That's what you want? How much more submission holes we got to put you in for you to say mercy, 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 and get on what you're supposed to be getting on? Stop the BS. So they're telling you about state citizens and all this. Why would you, Aboriginal and Indigenous, why would you be a state citizen? What do you mean you're going to be a state citizen? What state are you a citizen of? What is a state? Because if state, to me, is mental, then you can't tell me about I'm a state, anything in some geographical jurisdiction. Kudra, what's your state? Mental. No, but I mean you're a citizen of the state. Of what state? Mental. You can't be a mental citizen. You can't be a mental state citizen. What do you mean? You're saying that you be a citizen of a geographical area. Why can't I be a citizen of the mental plane? Why not? You want to be a citizen of the earth plane. Oh, you can't do that. Oh, but then you could say that you're a state, whatever, and I can't say that. No. Stop the BS. Let's go check what the facts are. So that way, people aren't confused. So if anybody's talking public and private and all that stuff to you, this is what they're talking about. That they're not telling you that this is what they're talking about. This is what Drew Ali told you back in the 1920s. There are 4 types of citizens. The first type of citizen that exists is the national citizen. That's the first one. That's the one at the top of the pyramid, the eye on the pyramid. That's national. Two, naturalized citizens. These are those who come here and become citizens through naturalization. Now remember, in order for you to naturalize, you have to be doing that. In order to naturalize, you have to be doing that through a de jure body politic. It can't be de facto. It can't be de facto. Because the naturalizer is going to be the indigenous person who is the national. That's why they're the first citizen. So everything has to go through the national. We realize everything's not going through the national. Who are the heirs to this vast estate called the Moroccan Empire? All they got to do is say that they're Moors, put themselves in the national status. Now everything has to go through you when people come here. But now you want to be Negro, black, colored, and you want to play nigger games. You want to play BIPOC now. Now you're black, indigenous, people of color, and then you're LGBTQ and all that stuff after that too. That's all you so much stuff. How come when we go to the tranny Hindustani, they know that they're Hindustani. They ain't 50 different things. You go to the tranny European, they're German, Scottish, French, whatever. Then you go to the butch Japanese lady. What is it? Nationality. Highest citizen. But that's only if they're in their land. If they're not in their land, they're probably naturalized. And if they're naturalized, they should have gone through the national for naturalization, because they're a foreigner in somebody else's land. They're a foreigner in somebody else's land. So we don't even deal with the other citizens, the subjects and the aliens. We don't even concerned with them. Concerned with the nationals and the naturalized. Are you in the private capacity, which is the national, or are you in the public capacity, which is the naturalized, the subject, the alien, the ward, and whatever it is, 14th Amendment citizens that they got? And then there's all those fictions that people are being instead of just being the national who Drew Ali told them to be since the 1920s. That were Moors. Which puts us in a national capacity as a citizen. It's really national. There's no state citizen. You're either national or you're a foreigner. That's just what it is. You're either a national or you're an immigrant. You're not from here. So you can't make rules and tell people what they're supposed to do and all that stuff. This is not wherever these immigrants came from. And we were at the door. We had everybody in office that we had to have in office. Noble Drew Ali was the president. But then here come the traitors. The same ones telling you today, go get their MATD so you could be a citizen of a state instead of being a national. And because you're the national and this is your land, doesn't mean that you're going to do whatever you want. You're going to go pull out and piss right there just because you can. If we're the Moors again, we're ruling, probably there'll be a bathroom everywhere. So ain't nobody have any issues where they go. Just how it used to be. When our foremothers and forefathers were ruling. And nobody had any issues, and everybody could practice their little religion. They wanted to play around that they were. But if you mess around, you ride the mare of steel. Because you know Allah guides this. It's not some religious thing. Drew Ali came to bring you back in your national standing, so that you could take your place now in the affairs of men. And when you take your place amongst the affairs of men in a national status, now they have to hear what you're saying. Because you're not coming to them like, the tail between the legs, sniffing at the feet and all that stuff. You ain't doing that. Which is why they send these people. to have you have these misconcepts. So, because all you know, since you came into this, is the national, is the guys on TV who they get arrested or whatever. And anybody who says that they're Moorish national, well, they're on the, you don't want to be on the terrorist list and whatever like that, so talk to that Moor over there, because they got the card that's going to make you be able to get on, stay off the terrorist list as a Moor and all this madness. And still listening to foreigners. Don't even have their own mind yet. We're talking about want to be in control of other people's mind, talking about you're ahead of something. You don't even have your own mind. Little mama issues you never dealt with or whatever like that, and talking about authenticate some birth certificate with some people, 1,500, 25 grand. Then the big dummies go pay because they didn't go to rvbaypublications.com like Moore's been telling them since 2008. Go get yourself straight. But no, everybody wants to do chase the tail until you realize, dumbass, it's your tail. What are you doing? Are you chasing your own stuff all over the place? Why don't you just do what Noble Drew Ali told you? But no, you can't do that because all these sellouts, all these traders are going to use Noble Drew Ali, but lead your ass astray.
The matrix. You know, there's been a lot of focus on the matriarch and the Moorish movement to the extreme to where the mentioning of our paternal rights and our linkage to our paternal, you know, is not even talked about anymore. But let's see what the Prophet Noble Drew Ali has said in regards to nationality and where your national name actually comes from. Right? All right. Let's go. This is Moorish literature. Let's go to the first page. Now you see this. It now appears a good idea for those whose duty it is to write for the various journals to find out what the national name of the forefathers of these people was.
So, if Drew Ali said national name, why are they telling you state citizen? Aren't they using Drew Ali as a reference right now? They use Drew Ali as a reference right now, right? This is them not telling you this. This is how dumb you are. You're so dumb that you're going to go give these people finance, MATD, to go get an ID so that you could be a state citizen. But they're using Noble Drew Ali, and Noble Drew Ali is telling you national name. National name, it doesn't belong to state citizen. State citizen would have state name, right? The state citizen would have state name. So if there's a national citizen, a national name, then that'll be national. That'll be national name. But what they're telling you is national name of the forefathers, justifying their patriarchal booty bandit traders. These no honors for the matriarch Negroes. Because they're gonna, and this is absolute corruption that they're speaking in this context. MATD. The people who have the Moorish passport right now, the Moorish American travel document with the cover soft and all that stuff, and people been going around showing it, and they've been getting whatever it is that they want. Because it works. Right? When you use it, it works. Right? We just told you who the nationals and the naturalization people are, right? So if some foreign Europeans in land that's not theirs recognize something, does that mean that it's official or something? I thought they're the colonists. Why are you listening to them? Why are you listening to them? How come you're not listening to the indigenous people? Now remember, they're using free national name of the forefathers to justify that the Moorish stuff isn't matriarchal. Patriarchs have a position, the paternal line, and all this BS, right? Now look at how you're getting played, like a dumb ass. And they're using Noble Drew Ali to do it. All right, now look how they're playing themselves. When you go look up forefather, guess what it means? Ancestor. Has nothing to do with paternal nothing. What paternal what? What are you talking about? Where's the paternal? How? Ancestor. One from whom a person is descended and who is usually more remote in the line of descent than a grandparent. Where does it say father there? Where does it say masculine anything there? Does it say masculine anything? So if masculine nothing is mentioned in the definition of ancestor, which is in the definition of forefather, then why are they using it as if forefather means masculine and paternal? Why are they using it like that if that's not even what forefather means? You saw forefather and you thought, oh, that means the paternal stuff. You never went to look it up. Now where it gets interesting is when you look up foremother. Foremother tells you someone's female relative who lived a long time ago. How come foremother doesn't mean ancestor and forefather doesn't mean patriarchal? Because mother and father are one and the same. It's telling you that all your ancestors were foremothers. That's why in the 101, question 30, Noble Drew Ali told these Moors in the 20s, what was the nationality of Ruth? Ruth was a Moabitess. Not a Moabite. A Moabitess. And then, if he's talking about her nationality, why is he bringing up her? How come he's not bringing up some man? Because the modern name for the Moabites are Moroccans. And the Moroccans are those of the Moroccan Empire, which is northwest of Exum, which the modern name for Exum is Africa. And these Moabites and Canaanites and all of them got permission from the pharaohs to settle in this land known as the Americas. And all of that comes from because of Ruth. Now, if Ruth and Moabites and Moroccans and Moroccan Empire and Moors are relative, if they're relative, And also with Canaanites, Hittites, and more, you know, going through the line. That would absolutely mean that these people are more than likely the same people. More than likely, all these people are family. So if all these people are family, why are these other people doing so much to try to separate the family? By causing confusion. Because they're going to have you think that forefather means masculine or paternal. It does not. They lied on you and they lied on Noble Drew Ali. Because he didn't mean that it was paternal when he said forefathers anywhere in his literature. Because forefather is not even connected to paternal. These people play you and make you give up your birthright so then you get the karma, not them. Because you're the one that gave it up. You're giving up your birthright because some people said some dumb stuff about Noble Drew Ali and caused confusion. What are you giving up your birthright for? You got Moors still locked up right now saying that they're Moors. And they've been saying that they're Moors ever since they got locked up. Right now. There's Moors inside right now that they're Els and Bays and they're inside right now. They're not being Moors, they're not their nationality because they're locked up. What? How's that work? These people keep playing you.
You know, there's been a lot of focus on the mate Ali has said the gender, whether coming from X or Y. Now, let's look again. Gender, whether no name of...
Listen to all the justification of the booty bandit stuff. Talking about patriarchal. These people must have got molested by their fathers. That's why they hate their mom so much. Because they're not man enough to stand up to their father who molested them. Even though they're a man right now. Even though they're a man right now, they're not going to go stand up to their father or their uncle or whoever it was that molested them. They'll talk crazy about mother and lie on Noble Drew Ali to get you to be a liar on Noble Drew Ali because they can't figure out their stuff. Which Noble Drew Ali brought you everything it takes to save a nation until you take it and save yourself. So how you gonna figure this stuff out?
Of the forefathers. This is how we know that nationality passes down through the father, because the father even determines the gender, whether coming from X or Y. Now, let's look again. Thus, he is separated from the illustrious history of his forefathers, who were the founders of the first civilization of the old world.
Forefather. Ancestor. A person of an earlier period and common heritage. Where does it say something about father, XY chromosome and all that BS? Where does it say anything about that? This is a #1 bullshit guy right here. Because all that stuff that he just gave you, all that stuff he just gave you, that y'all chasing after. Oh yeah, it says forefather there.
You know,
so
there's been a lot of focus on the matriarch and the more of the first civilization of the old world, right? The founders of the civilization, the forefathers, right? But now we're going into this thing where people are saying the matriarch.
You can't read the chat later. You can't read the chat later. This one is very important. A man doesn't even know he's a father unless a woman tells him that he's a father. So how are these people talking crazy? If you fell for everything that they said in this crap right here, to sell you this stupid book that you could use with some de facto people, that means that it's legit. If you fall for this stuff, you're a dumbass. Okay?
Matriarch is the founder of all civilization. But if you're part of the Moorish movement, let's see what the man who started the Moorish movement and gave us our nationality and birthrights has to say. Right? Because it's here. For without a free national name, with a descent flag of your forefathers.
Forefathers means the ancestors. Why is he stressing forefathers as if forefathers have to do something with some masculine thing? Because in forefathers, there are four mothers. And four mothers are the founders because that's God. This stuff's not advanced. Four mothers is the foundation. That's why Drew Ali brought you back to Ruth. For you to know who you are. Because it starts with mother. It has to start with mother. It has to. None of these people play you. Don't let them play you. Drew Ali did not say forefather in order to imply to you that this is some patriarchal thing, so the sons need to get their props because they're sons, and dumbass, you wouldn't be here without mother. Stop the dumb stuff. How's paternal first? How? It doesn't even make sense. It's not, you can't even fathom it. Man first. Man's important. Where did he come from? Well, you see the quasars and no. Well, I was in the shrooms and no, we're not talking about that. We're not talking about that. We're talking about where the power is vested. That's why when you look up for mother, it doesn't say anything about ancestor. It tells you about female. Female. For mother. Female. For father. No male. Forefather. Male has nothing to do with that. Forefather, ancestor. Which that's one. You already know ancestors are fathers or mothers. The father is nobody because he's a son. Stop the dumb stuff. foremother for the Moors is Ruth. Foremother to that is nature. Foremother to that is the zodiac. Foremother to that is the universal frequency. It's all mother. Creating everything. As soon as you hear the patriarchs pop up and they start using forefather from the perspective that it implies masculine because father is there, that's a lie. This is what we want to impress on you. They're patriarchs. They're booty bandits. They're not about honoring mother. So how could they be credible if they don't honor mother? How they be taking, how they getting 3,500 and they don't honor mother? Because you're a dumbass, that's how. Not because of them. It's absolutely dumbfounding how people could be so dumb. Like, it's crazy. I was talking to a youth man today. And youth man saying common sense not common. He's youth man like not even 20 yet. And he has enough common sense to know that there's not too much common sense. Because why would they do whatever on camera and not expect to get caught? Like, it doesn't even make any sense to me. Common sense isn't that common. Yeah, you're right. Unfortunately. 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 But that doesn't mean, you know, anything has to stop or something like that. Now look at how it's everywhere. Right? Case study. The Rohingya. Case study on the Rohingya people. Rohingya. Statelessness may also be caused by direct racial or ethnic discrimination, as in the case of the Rohingya. The Rohingya are considered by their home country, Myanmar, to be illegal immigrants from Bangladesh, despite having lived in Myanmar for many generations. The Rohingya have been stateless since Myanmar stripped them of their nationality in 1982 on grounds of their ethnicity. They are subjected to discriminatory treatment and persecution affecting every aspect of their lives, from their ability to move freely, marry, earn a living, to the imposition of arbitrary taxes, arbitrary arrests, and torture. Sound familiar? How are they able to do that to them? Oh, because they stripped them of their nationality and made them wards. And then they say it's statelessness and then we can't do anything about it. And why? How come they just interestingly can't do anything about it? Oh, because in the book, Citizenship by Dmitry Koshenov, Dimitrykochenov, he argues that the concept of citizenship, which he understands is not a modern civic institution designed to protect the rights of ordinary people, but as a blunt instrument of global inequality and oppression. This is what he's saying about citizenship. Citizenship, he writes, is essentially a historically violent and ultimately totalitarian status of pre-modern nature, both rigid to an extreme and capriciously random in how it is assigned, leaving no room or choice for merit, glory in its sexism and racism. This is what they're pulling you towards with their MATD. They want you to be citizen. This is what they want you to be, citizen. The ideals citizenship emerge to defend have little to do with all that drives the thinking behind a good society in the contemporary world. In other words, citizenship originated as a political expression of hierarchy. Its further development in the modern era, including its novel formulation as a building block of the international human rights regime, doubled down on those rights, on those origins. Its contemporary position as the most important venue for the protection of human rights has therefore enshrined global inequity as foundational to an international political system that hypocritically claims to defend the basic principles of justice and equality. Just go get Dimitri's book and see how he beats up on citizenship, telling you that it's BS. The book starts with a basic truth, easy to recognize but too infrequently stated, that citizenship is utterly random. The fact that someone of Norwegian or Pakistani does not have anything to do with the character or talents, education, or aspirations of the person in question. That's why, again, that's why Juali told the Moors, money doesn't make the man. It is free national standards and power that makes a man and nation. The wealth of all national governments, gold, silver, commerce, belong to the citizens alone. And without your national citizenship, not state citizenship, this is how Juali was a mastermind. Because if he's telling you without national citizenship, and then they're telling you today citizenship is a fraud, then what do? You just drop citizen off and then you just be national. This man covered every base for the Moors. But because the Moors are blind and can't see, they get played. Right? Without your national citizenship, by name and principles, there's people that have the name, they're Moors, but you look at their principles, their principles are messed up. That stuff backwards, spelling Noble Juali, Noble EL and all that. They obviously don't have it right. And you better study so you could get it right. Because as you see, the shelves are empty and stuff like that. These people aren't playing games. As you see, food's double. As you see, gas is quadruple. As you see, it's all the stuff that was the same man told you that's going to be happening if you didn't hear what he's saying. So you better start hearing what he's saying. Honors to all the Moors worldwide. There's the countdown. Peace and love to all the Moors. Watch out for these traitors and these sellouts, these butt pirates. Honors to all the mothers worldwide. F the patriarchy. Honors to Noble Juali. And honors to all Moors in the chat. Peace and love to all the Moors.